You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. JCTR says food prices too high for ordinary citizens. Drama continues over Chishimba Kambwili's COVID-19 results. Zambians urged to protect the shrinking civic and political space. In international news, Ivory Coast on the edge as high-stakes election looms. And in sports news, Zanaco unveils 3 new signings and graduate young Zanaco duo. For the details, do join me shortly after this break.
Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you a filmmaker? Well, you are exactly what we are looking for.
Camnet TV is calling on local filmmakers. For more details,
You can visit our headquarters in Ibex Hill, next to Hilltop Hospital.
contact us on
0962 444 726. Camnet TV.
not just another channel.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga. Drama has continued to characterize the release of COVID-19 results for the National Democratic Congress NDC leader Chishimba Kambwili. Mr. Kambwili claimed that on the 9th of August 2020 that he tested positive for COVID-19, hence him not going to court, which saw Lusaka Principal Magistrate David Simusamba issuing an arrest warrant for the NDC leader. Magistrate Simusamba also requested for Mr. Kambwili results, which up to now have not yet been issued to the court for verification. We have more in this report.
The Lusaka's Magistrate Court has summoned for National Democratic Congress leader Chishimba Kambwili's initial COVID-19 result, which he tested positive. The summon was issued after Ndola Health Provincial Director Robert Zulu testified that Kambwili tested negative to COVID-19 on the 4th of September 2020 and the results were communicated to him. This is in a case where NDC leader Chishimba Kambwili is in court on allegation of forgery, altering a false document and presenting a false document to a public officer relating to Mwanawasa Engineering and Services Limited. On the 1st of September 2020, magistrate handling the case, David Simusamba, ordered Kambwili to get a test again to ascertain if indeed he was COVID-19 positive. However, on the 4th of September 2020, Kambwili's lawyers told the court that the result of the test were expected to be out within a period of 2 weeks, which prompted the magistrate to summon the Provincial Health Director and Ron Antelope Medical Superintendent to explain the procedure involved in the testing of COVID-19 samples. And when the matter came up this morning, the magistrate questioned Zulu about the court order which was issued for Kambwili to take a second COVID-19 test, and Zulu told the court that he never received any order. Otherwise, if they had been given the court order, the results would have been given within 24 hours. He explains that the testing of COVID-19 samples are in 2 categories, and some collected from very sick patients are treated as priority, and samples collected from the individuals who just want to test and patients without symptoms are out in one stream and may take long to test. Zulu informed the court that according to the information received, Kambwili had tested positive. And Ron Antelope Medical Superintendent Dr. Chimese Mwasa told the court that on the 9th of August 2020, Kambwili went at the hospital. He had some difficulties in breathing, and the hospital decided to get samples of COVID-19, which later came out positive. Dr. Mwanawasa told the court that the second test of COVID-19 done on Kambuli came out on the 4th of September. However, Kambuli was informed yesterday. The magistrate later questioned Dr. Mwanawasa about the letter she wrote indicating the result would be ready within the next 2 weeks. She told court that Kambuli told her to write the letter and told her to estimate how long it would take. She added that based on her past experience, some result would take long as 2 weeks to be ready, but if she had been served with an order from the court, the result would have been made a priority. Kambuli's negative COVID-19 result were later given to the court. However, Magistrate Simsamba has summoned Kambuli's initial result and told Zulu to facilitate for the result. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
A 47-year-old public analyst from the Ministry of Health has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that he never found any condom-like foreign material in the Lagana sausage as alleged. This is in a matter in which Luyando Kopakopa, a clinical medicine student at Apex University, and her partner Eric Ngandu, a police reserve, are charged with 1 count of libel. Mr. Francis Koa has told the court that after he did the analysis on the sausage, which came from the Lusaka City Council, requesting them to find out if the food was good for human consumption, he found out that there was nothing dangerous in the sausage, stating that what was referred to as being a condom was actually some food casing. It is alleged that Kopakopa and Ngandu between August 3rd, 2019 and August 20th, 2019, whilst acting together and with the intent to defame Lagana Investments Limited, unlawfully published defamatory matter against the said company by alleging that it was using human flesh to make sausages and that the meat product was packed in condoms. The matter, which is before Chief Resident Magistrate Lamek Mwale, has since been adjourned to the 17th of November 2020. And moving on in other news, a financial analyst, Mambo Hamaundu, has attributed the weakening of the kwacha to low supply and high demand on export activities in the mining sector, among other sectors such as tourism and infrastructure. In an interview, Mr. Hamaundu tells Camnet TV News that copper, being the main forex earner for Zambia, has reduced greatly, hence affecting the strength of the kwacha. The kwacha has drastically lost strength, with most financial institutions selling at 19.18 ngwe against the US dollar, a matter that has raised concern among members of the public, wondering how this will affect the economy.
The kwacha, an official medium of exchange, Zambia's currency, has seen a lot of fluctuations this year, with the recent debate on its rising from the fact that the kwacha is almost hitting 20 kwacha per $1 United States dollars. In January 2020, the kwacha opened at 14 kwacha against the United States dollars, but few months down the line, the currency has weakened, now trading at 19 kwacha 17 ngwe. Stakeholders have expressed concern over this, stating that it may affect the ease of doing business, which is already a challenge. But why is the national currency being performing poorly? This is the question that many people are asking. A Lusaka-based financial analyst, Mambo Hamaundu, says low productivity in the mining sector could play a part in the weakening of the currency. He says mines account most of Zambia's export, which has been affected by restrictions in the movement due to the effects of COVID-19.
In this country has been copper. I think 60-70% of the forex, or even 80% of the forex that traditionally has been coming into the country comes from exports earnings related to copper. And with the mining sector facing its own challenges, because there are quite a number of challenges that it is facing. I think you've heard of some mines, without mentioning names, which are under receivership. There are some mines where the key shareholders are trying to leave. They're trying to sell their shares to government. There are mines which are saying they want to go into care and maintenance. So that means that production is being hampered. So we are not producing or mining as much copper as we should be. And consequently, we are therefore not exporting as much. and that has affected the revenue coming into the country. So that in itself, I've indicated that demand is high, but supply now is affected. We are looking at tourism. Because of COVID-19, there's a restriction in terms of movement. So the money which should have been coming in from the tourists is not really coming in.
Mr. Hamaudu further explains that the weakening of the kwacha will have adverse effects on debt servicing if at all it does not get controlled.
I've been wearing size 38 for the last 20, 25 years, 30 years. But this does not mean that I don't lose weight or put on weight. I lose weight and put on weight, but it is still within the size 38. So I just have to adjust my belt. It's a similar thing which we need for our rate of exchange. If our rate of exchange is stable, it means that a business player who wants to participate, who wants to invest, and they intend to import or export, it will be easier for them to make projections because they have an idea to say that the rate of exchange will be within this range. That's what stability offers. It enables planning. And once you have people who can plan and the results are almost can be predicted with reasonable certainty, you could actually see an improvement in the economy because people will invest. So those are some of the aspects which really are causing our rate of exchange, to either go up or go down. And of course, the other aspect relates to investor confidence, because investors, if they are confident, if they are comfortable with what is obtaining in terms of policies, in terms of pronouncements.
He has also added that there is need for the local currency to stabilize before it's too late. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Government Deputy Chief Whip Tutu Ngulube says the debate on the controversial Bill 10 will continue when Parliament resumes this coming Friday. Mr. Ngulube says contrary to what he termed as lies which are being peddled by the opposition that the bill had collapsed, he explains that it still has some life. According to him, Parliament had adjourned prematurely in view of the COVID-19 pandemic even before the debate on Bill 10 could be concluded, hence the decision by Parliament to allow the debate to continue. President Edgar Lungu is this Friday expected to officially open the first meeting of the 5th session of the 12th National Assembly. Mr. Ngulube was also updating the nation on the measures the National Assembly has put in place in fighting the coronavirus.
Whether Bill 10 is one of the bills that will come up in this session, I wish to announce that Bill number 10 is one of the bills that will be considered in the budget session that is starting this Friday. I also wish maybe to add further that the debate on Bill number 10 had started, and also at the time when we were actually adjourning, some members of Parliament had debated, and so whoever was on the floor when the debate was disrupted will be allowed to continue with his debate, and any further MPs who wish to add their voice before the voting, can actually take place, because the procedure is that because the Constitution allows a threshold of 2/3 majority for the members of Parliament to be present at the voting when you are actually amending a constitution, it is important to state that even for Bill number 10, before the voting or after the voting, before any of the proposals can come into effect, it will be important that the majority, the 2/3 majority as required by the Constitution, is actually achieved. And so we wish to state that there is nothing that stops Parliament from bringing back Bill number 10 or any other business that was disrupted on the date of the last adjournment.
A Lusaka resident of Chaisa compound has pleaded with the American Millennium Challenge account not to face off the entire drainage in the area near the railway line, as some people are using the water from the drainage for gardening and car washing business. Oswald Mwanza, an ex-convict, says the drainage has been of help to the community, considering that the area has been experiencing water challenges. Mr. Mwanza's plea comes in the wake of an order for him to leave his place with a compensation of 1,500 kwacha to pave way for the fencing of the infrastructure.
After spending 2 years in incarceration, this Chaisa resident is now a Chinese citizen who is working hard to make a better living. Oswald Mwanza, who has ventured into farming, is appealing to the Millennium Challenge account to rethink its decision of fencing the Bombay drainage, as the residents have resorted in using water from the drainage because of non-availability of water in the area.
Nankala pan almost nangu to 20 years now. Yes, so nezinaka life kwa jakosa mvela pa number 1 mali na sinzo fa konzero. So na bwana panga mulando na bwana nigwira naenda ku prison. Pamene chola ku prison ili bench to inango. Tumasikoche mamoto kapano no lima hapo. So tunasala tulima so chabe all of the sudden kudapo chabacho kuna bula company atifu no vala Bombay. So na bwana bauza njebera hapa ni mali mapo hapa manje ngati mwavala Bombay ni sinzambo tila bwanje milisi. So wanabula ni tanafuti mailo kuma offices nobonuza kuti no, we have sit down, we have discussed that tufuniko kupasa 1.5 kuti uchokepo paja.
He told this reporter that he too was a beneficiary because he uses the same water for his garden.
Manje ine ni nadandaulo yakuti pano tuli almost nangu 10 wintu masenzera pano. Benangu amasoma motoka huku, benangu tumatirira huku. Manje bantu bali 10 1.5 manza abavale. Vamenyela mchallenge wanakamba siwa vala manzi. That's why tunasala tusebenza. Manje amena bolo vala manzi wakavala manzi. 1.5 zaipeleka kuti ife. Pano tumalipirapo manyumba tumajerapo manje tuzaenda kuti. Wanakamba ati bafuna otenga ko 2.5 meters kutoka ku Bombay. Manje akatenga 2.5 meters kutoka ku Bombay. Kwa maana tumatapa manzi ni ku Bombay. That means we watenga 2.5 meters, that means milisi yonse hapa. Na mamoto kapaniswa siya kusuka. Sasa la kulipe koenda. So we can sacrifice this place for the 1.5 VI.
Mwanza, however, hopes and pray that after his visit to their offices, they might change their decision. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The Health Department in Southern Province has called for concerted efforts in the fight against malaria. The department has further called on the media to take up a leading role in the sensitization of communities about the importance of protecting themselves from malaria following reports of misuse of mosquito nets in areas where fishing ventures are rife. Speaking during the Churches Association of Zambia CHAZ 2-day media training in malaria elimination strategy in Livingston, Acting Provincial Health Director Dr. Zambias Currency says his office decided to engage the media because of the important role they play in communities. Dr. Currency says the training of the journalists in the province has come at a time when the Provincial Health Office is embarking on mass distribution of treated mosquito nets to various districts in an effort to prevent the spread of malaria. Dr. Currency says the province will also embark on a door-to-door indoor residue spraying exercise, which he says the media must help to engage the people on clearing myths associated with the exercise from community members who in many cases shun from their homes being sprayed.
So would like to ask you to help us spread this kind of information on the type of houses that are suitable for spraying, because the community sometimes might not understand why we skipped their household are not sprayed. And then there are times when people say the sprayers never came to spray our houses. So you are key pillars to help us disseminate this kind of information where we have key eligible structures that can be used or that are going to be sprayed. So for some of the structures that won't be sprayed, this time around, come next month, we shall embark on a mass distribution of insecticide treated nets. As a province, we will receive over 700,000, close to 800,000 ITNs, which will then be distributed to all the communities. Currently, the training is going on now. We have a trainer of trainers training. We've invited the districts, and they will go back and now influence and train the facilities. So we're going to use community-based volunteers who are going to help us with this mass distribution of the nets. It's very paramount that we all work together as one team. I think this is a strategy, a holistic strategy, or a health policy which I think the Ministry of Health has adopted to come and sort out malaria in the province. So with the support of CHAS, I think we've been working very closely with the chiefs, very closely with some key stakeholders in the community, footballers for instance. Now we're also working with you as journalists as another key stakeholder to work in the fight against malaria. So together we could fight malaria, and together, once it's put together in collaboration with yourselves, we should be able to get all the work done. So we hope whatever we've done, we've shared with you, and some of the key components from your discussions will come to fruition. I believe this is a very vibrant team and should actually deliver from all the expectations that you have.
For now, we take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
I have used Oracle Pure Glycerin for 2 years now. It has really worked for me. It has cleared all the black spots on my face. It has restored my skin beauty. It also smoothens the skin. Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for perfect skin. If it's not Oracle Glycerin, then it's not Pure Glycerin.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
You're watching Camnet TV World News. Thank you so much for staying with us. The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflections, JCT-ARA, has urged government to place a higher premium on social protection programs such as social cash transfer as a way of addressing the rising cost of living in poor and vulnerable households. JCT-ARA Acting Programs Manager for Social and Economic Development Program, Muchimba Siamchoka, says the COVID-19 pandemic has erupted when most countries had just begun to implement their 2020 national budgets, which has negatively affected the proper dispensation of the funds. Ms. Siamchoka says JCT-ARA would like to see social cash transfer benefiting many more vulnerable households than is the case at the moment.
The preparations for the 2021 national budget have almost concluded, with government expected to present it to the nation as per normal in October, a month from now. In Zambia, this process requires members of the public, civil society organizations and other interested parties to put up their submissions on how they want the national budget to appear. As the day draws closer to its presentation, organizations are agitating, trying to hit the last blow in ensuring that their voice is heard through the budget. The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, in its quest to advocate for improved livelihood of the people, it is making a call on government to increase funding towards social protection sectors owing to the increased food basket.
Call for the 2021 budgetary process. We do hope that a response will be highlighted towards dealing with the high cost of living. So as JCTR, from the August 2020 basket findings, we do note that the price, the cost of living itself is standing at about 7,000 kwacha 178.22 tungwe. So this cost compared against the livelihoods that people have, especially because the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted a lot of livelihoods in society, becomes a challenge. So from the basket, some of the items that recorded increases include the prices of
JCTR is also calling on households to deliberately incorporate meals such as roller meal, pounded groundnuts and vegetables in their daily diets in order to improve nutritional outcomes, especially during the time of the pandemic.
As we move away from the harvest period or the harvest season, due to scarcity, they tend to increase in cost. And to ensure that nutritional outcome or that nutritional value is maintained, even in the lives of people, especially during a time of a health crisis, remains very important. The center is pleased to note the price of mealie meal, cassava, and fruits have continued to go down. So these become very important once again in this time of a pandemic. As attention is shifted towards the 2021 national budgets, JCTR does urge government to continue prioritizing the social protection programs, because we know that the vast majority of the poor and vulnerable are housed within that society.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Rotary Club of Mosi-Otunya district in Livingston has donated assorted storybooks to the former SOS Children's Village School, now called Herman School, to mark the International Literacy Day, which falls on September 8th each year. Speaking during the handover of the books, Rotary Club President Rodney Sikumba says with the focus of the role of the educators and changing teachings, this year's Literacy Day will provide an opportunity to examine the position of educators and evaluate effective strategies, processes, governance and initiatives to promote educators and education. And speaking at the same event, Livingston District Education Board Secretary Eden Kabunga expressed worry about the low levels of reading culture among Zambians. DEB's representative Gafa Mulao says the country is still grappling with the challenge of reading, which results in high levels of literacy among citizens, saying the donation will go a long way in improving the reading culture of the pupils at the school.
Rotary International, in line with the UNESCO, has picked September, this particular month, as a basic education and literacy month. Each and every Rotary club internationally will be doing similar activities such as this. We as the Rotary Club of Mosi-Otunya Livingston thought we could take this particular month seriously and see how best we could contribute to heightening the levels of literacy within our community. Hence, as Mosi-Otunya, we are fulfilling this goal by donating storybooks and various learning aids to the vulnerable schools and communities. We will continue doing this. This is such a special day because we are also announcing today, the Rotary Club of Mosi-Otunya is announcing the launch of a project which has been dubbed as Rotary Reads. Now, this will enable parents to access and download different storybooks by Rotarians. Now, what this simply means, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow learners behind there, is that the Rotarians across the world, obviously from Mosi-Otunya also, will be reading storybooks, which will be audible. So at any given time, you'll be able to access these books, which will be read by Rotarians, and we want to encourage each and every one of you to take it seriously, to start reading and listening to all these books that will be read out by Rotarians.
Want to appeal to you. When you hear people talking about reading, take it very serious. If you know how to read, it will help you to build self-confidence. It will help you to interpret. It will even help you to avoid buying a stuff which is expiring in 2 days' time. So reading really is an equalizer, as has been said. It will help you to excel. If you can't read, you can't excel in life in terms of education. So whether a farmer, whether a business, you need at least you must know how to read and write.
Moving on in the news, United Party for National Development UPND National Chairperson Mutale Nalumango says traditional leaders play an important role in uniting the country, hence the need for them to have a strong voice against tribalism. Speaking when she paid a courtesy call on Senior Chief Makumbi of the Kaonde-speaking people of Northwestern Province, Ms. Nalumango says no Zambian should be banned from going to certain areas because of their political affiliation. Ms. Nalumango says the duty of the ruling party is to ensure that the country is not only united but developed holistically without leaving anyone behind. Ms. Nalumango is on a 2-day familiarization tour of Kalumbila district where she is checking on progress of a number of projects such as schools, health facilities and bridges with a special emphasis on good leadership.
They are Zambians. They have no region. They have no tribe. They are everything. And therefore, any leader that is worthy of his sort must work to develop everywhere, to unite people. One thing PF has managed to do, Your Royal Highness, is to lie, to cheat. They are very good at that.
Yes, yes.
Because they will come here and pretend they have worked so much in other areas.
Because they are like us.
Yeah, when you go to where they say they have developed, you start wondering. Last year, I was blessed to go with a young lady called Haimbe, not Haimbe, Ambai, and another lady from Livingstone. Some people may know her. Honorable, what is her name? Simango. And she was saying, we went to the north, Wapula. So she was saying, hey, we are better off. Why do people here vote? I wish I could put her on phone, ladies and gentlemen. It's chaotic. It's terrible. So they will come here, they will go there and pretend they are developing here. When they come here, they say they are developing there. That is what they have done. That is to divide and rule. But I'm so happy, sir, that you are decided.
We know them.
You know them. And they will not deceive anymore.
No.
Don't kubeba in Bemba means deceive them. Don't tell them the truth. And they have run away with it. Now they have found people like you that have deciphered the message and have known that it's a lie. Royal Highness, we are looking.
GEARS Initiative Zambia has urged citizens to be concerned with the shrinking civic and political space in the country. The organization says it is worrying that the civic and political space is shrinking, as evidenced in a number of cases where citizens have been arrested for mere expressing their views on national matters. Speaking at the opening of Democracy Building and Citizens Engagement on the shrinking civic space space ahead of the 2021 general elections in Zambia in Kafue Tuesday morning. Initiative Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi says there is need for citizens to step up and stand for freedom of expression to be protected. Mr. Chipenzi says it is his organization's view that citizens and their allies formulate a strong and consolidated local and national response to defend the common space for engagement, debate, and act regardless of political, religious, and regional affiliations. Mr. Chipenzi was represented by GEAR's Initiative Director of Governors, Gideon Musonda, and Kafue Council Secretary, Jonathan Mwanza, through Senior Health Inspector, Judy Manyenga, says as an organization that is involved in electoral matters, they will ensure that civic space is accorded to all regardless of their status.
There is need to build tactful ways, political resilience and mental readiness in order to overcome the shrinking political space through public discussion where alternative and effective use safe spaces can be identified for transforming shrinking civil and political space. This activity, therefore, aims to build the capacity of women and youths and all the stakeholders in overcoming these challenges.
Say that the Council values the partnership that GEARD brings on board, and we would like to say that really we are proponents of free and fair elections and of course the observance of human rights in the dispensation of the electoral process. As an organization that is fully involved in the electoral process, we will do our part to ensure that we support the core values around the electoral process and ensure that the process is free and fair and of course in a safe environment.
The Zambian government has received about 3 million face masks from the government of the Republic of America. Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya has also told the nation that Zambia has received support worth 25 million United States dollars from the Global Fund towards the procurement of personal protective equipment, coronavirus testing kits, and health promotion activities. Meanwhile, Zambia has recorded 116 new COVID-19 positive cases out of 997 tests done in the last 24 hours. Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya further announces that the country has recorded 2 COVID-19 related deaths in the last 24 hours.
The last 24 hours, where we conducted a total of 997 tests and got 116 new cases. And these new cases were identified through health facility screening, community screening, that is for non-contacts, and even just routine screening, and mortality surveillance in our mortuaries. Look at districts that recorded cases included Lusaka, Kitwe, Chinsali, Solwezi, Kabwe, Mufulira, Mansa, Kalulushi, Mbika, Mpongwe, and Ndola. Chingola too recorded some cases, and we had one brought-in dead case from Kabwe. Unfortunately, we lost a 77-year-old patient with underlying Alzheimer's disease and hypertension, and he presented with COVID-19 pneumonia and succumbed despite the efforts that our team put in. That raises our COVID-19 related deaths in the last, by 2 because of the BID that I did speak about. We have 46 patients admitted to our various COVID facilities in the country, 30 at Levy, 16 of these are on oxygen, and 7 are in ICU requiring critical care. And if we look at those outside Lusaka, we have 15, with 5 on oxygen, and mainly on the Copper Belt 5, and 2 in northern and northwestern, and 3 in Muchinga and southern. We continue to discharge patients from various facilities and from community isolation facilities. So a total of 39 patients have been discharged. So our totals now stand at 12,952 cases out of the 125,070 tests conducted so far, and recovery stand at 11,787 with 297 deaths.
For now, we take another set of commercials. Do stay tuned as we have international and sports news. Don't go away.
To create a positive difference in people's lives, one must first understand the way people live. At Savenda, we're here for our community, our partners, and our future, as a nation and as a continent.
Back in 1997, we decided we were going to create this family journey into a bigger opportunity, and created a business called Savenda, which meant save nations to develop Africa.
It's always important to give back to the people. The government cannot do everything, but as business entities, we'll be able to reach a lot of people.
From our humble beginnings in the telecoms and mining sectors to our work in energy and development projects, we know how important it is to be true to our roots.
Our services have to be diversified so that we don't depend on one income stream. Back in the village, I was growing up hunting and doing everything that a village boy would like to do. When you're hunting, you don't depend on one trap, for example. You have to have many traps. So those survival skills brought into the business created opportunities that we learned from a young age that you can't survive with just one product. Savenda Group involves Savenda Management, which is a consulting, Savenda Express, which is a corporate branding company, Savenda Electric, which is a manufacturer of energy-saving bulbs, Savenda General Insurance, which is a general insurance company, Savenda Fresh Produce, Cyber Africa, which is a center for just dealing with cyber security.
Now, Savenda is combining local knowledge with international expertise. It's time to be a part of Zambia's rising success and Africa's exciting future.
We are a gateway into Africa, and now we are praying with global companies who are coming to Zambia for opportunities and to look for companies that are homegrown, and we are proud to be one of those.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, tensions are running high in the run-up to the October Ivory Coast polls, seen as a major test of stability in the world's top cocoa producer. The country's October election was and is still being predicted to be tense, but President Alassane Ouattara's decision last month to seek a controversial third term has drastically raised the stakes. On March 5th, Ouattara announced that he would not stand for re-election, even as he insisted that the constitutional amendments introduced in the 2016 allowed him to run again. The president pledged to pass on the torch to a new generation. The 70-year-old a week later told a gathering of the governing RDHP party that they will be in good hands as he backed Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly for president. The announcement of Coulibaly's candidacy seemed to end months of speculation that Ouattara would try to extend his stay, thus eliminating a great source of friction between the RDHP and the opposition ahead of the highly anticipated October 31st presidential election. We now get into sports news. Zambia Super League side sensational Zanaco has confirmed the acquisition of 3 youngsters in the readiness for the 2020-2021 MTN FAS Super League season, which kicks off on the 17th of October. The bankers, who are looking to build a team to qualify for the continent of football after failing to make the top 4 last season, have acquired 2019-2020 National Division 1 top goal scorer Albert Kangwanda on a year loan deal from Kafue Celtic. Others are midfielder Albino Chisala and defender Abraham from Happy Hearts and Police College respectively. The duo has signed 3-year permanent deals. Meanwhile, the bankers have also graduated strikers George Nimbili and Mike Zozi from Young Zanaco to the senior team. Both 21-year-olds have signed 3-year contracts. This story is courtesy of Zamfoot Sports. That sports item brings us to the end of Camnet World News. But before we go, a look at the headlines once again. JCTR says food prices too high for ordinary citizens. Drama continues over Chimba Kambwili's COVID-19 results. Zambians urged to protect the shrinking civic and political space. In international news, Ivory Coast on edge as high-stakes election looms. And in sports news, Zanaco unveils 3 new signings, graduate young Zanaco duo. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of 2 Corinthians 20 verse 10, and it reads, "That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in differences. For when I am weak, then I am strong." I have been your anchor, Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga. God bless.